This is Rock Bottom with Ryan. No sugarcoating, no filters. The pain, the chaos, the truth. No bullshit. Just recovery.
In this episode, we sit down with Shawn, who courageously opens up about his 28-year battle with alcoholism and cocaine addiction. After losing his son and facing a near-fatal incident, Shawn's story takes a powerful turn through ibogaine therapy, an unconventional path that gave him a life-changing understanding of love, self-acceptance, and healing. From years of failed rehab attempts to finding hope in unexpected places, Shawn now dedicates his life to guiding others on their recovery journey. His story is raw, moving, and a reminder that even in the darkest moments, transformation is possible. Let's get into it.
I'm Shawn Weldon. I live in Cumming, Georgia. I have been sober now. Labor Day will be a year and a half. So, I was alcoholic and enjoyed cocaine, so addict as well. And I did some really out of the box things to get sober. So, after many attempts, couple failed attempts, traditional rehab, I chose to use ibogaine therapy.
I want to hear all about the ibogaine therapy, which sounds really fascinating. Can you go into kind of how your drug use started and how it escalated into becoming a problem?
I guess it started with alcohol. Sure, I started drinking when I was a teenager. I was a victim of sexual abuse as a child. Didn't really know how to deal with that, so I didn't. I just drank. And then, that carried on into my adult life. I joined the military, and I was just super angry dude. Just a super angry individual, and just continued to drink. Actually, we ended up getting kicked out. Turns out you're not allowed to drink and hit people here in the military, at least other Americans. So,
Yeah,
wasn't a good look. That just haunted me. And my drinking has cost me marriages. I've missed time with my children. It's literally cost me so much of everything in my life. Everything good in my life, none of it has ever been helped by alcohol. And somehow I kind of just managed to hang on. I don't know how. I managed to keep a job and keep the bills paid, but there wasn't anything extra after that. And I did that for a lot of years.
how many years are we talking?
When I figured up, I think I drank for the better part of about 28 years.
Okay.
Well, 2013 though, it got super bad. 2013, my 8-year-old son, my wife then, and I lost my 8-year-old son.
Wow.
Just a freak illness. One day was fine, and 2 years later he was gone. It was just absolutely. I don't know how I made it through it. I don't know how I'm still alive. Honestly, I tried really hard not to be.
That's heartbreaking. I am so sorry.
It took off just drinking. I was climbing cell phone towers. Now my alcoholism has cost me jobs, many jobs, really really freaking good jobs. I was climbing cell phone towers at the time, and I remember after my son died, I just said I'm done, and I climbed a tower without my safeties right, and I tried to just lean off and let go. Well, I fell, but one of my monkey tails grabbed the peg, and it should not have saved. I should not be here. But I was like, I suck at trying to shoot myself or hurt myself. So, here I am.
You looked at it as kind of a sign that, hey, maybe I'm supposed to be here. So what went through your head when the next day after that?
I just went home. I just decided I don't know. I don't know what went through my head really. I just went home, and home was not home anymore. It never would be again. So my wife and I then got divorced, and I just kind of really just crawled in the bottle for the next couple of years, and then I found out about cocaine, and I wound up just there are a few years I don't remember there. I have zero clue what happened. Um, they just clearly they did happen because I'm still here.
Yeah,
But
my 20s were full of cocaine, and it is all, I try to think back and it's all a blur.
yeah, I mean, I had some good times, I'm sure. I remember a few jobs, but I don't remember a lot of the actual details. Um, I got married again. Remember getting married again, though we did that. I was well, I met a lady, we were together 10 years. And it was during that time when I was with her, I kind of started taking better care of myself. I want to see doctors and stuff, but I still was just drinking heavy, heavy, heavy. But I was a little older, so I was doing better things, making a little bit better choices in life. Still super self-destructive, just couldn't stop drinking. Cocaine when I could get decent coke. If it tested bad, not a good look for me.
Yeah. How long into your drinking did cocaine become a regular thing combined with drinking?
I would say probably 15, 16 years in is when I finally when I started actually using cocaine on a regular basis. Never was every now and then shared a party, but before that, nothing really. And I would say the last couple years really were just all out, free for all, no fucks given, let's go. It was rough.
Was
Uh,
how much was it costing you, do you think, or were you involved in selling it to kind of facilitate
no,
your
no,
habits or
no, I was not involved in selling anything. I actually had a really good job, really good career, own my own business.
good?
It I figured out while I was in rehab. I kind of did like a previous like 9 months scan of my bank account, what I had spent on alcohol, partying, and just random deposits that I knew were at the grocery store kind of thing. I knew that was a pack of gum. But
Hmm.
the $120 pack of gum,
Yeah.
um, and I figured that up. And in a 9 month period, the last 9 months of my addiction, I spent right at $37,000.
Wow.
It
Yeah,
was just,
it's scary when you
it
calculate how much
was,
we spent.
I'm like, I look around me right now and I'm like, where the hell is my jet, dude?
Yeah,
Like,
down payment
I
on
should
any
have,
house, you know?
I mean, maybe not a jet, but at least a small Cessna parked over there, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
holy cow. I mean,
Yeah, I
I'm
should have
not a
my own
Ferrari
island.
guy, but the wife and I could probably drive matching Porsches,
Yeah. Yep.
but it's all the shit we did that makes no sense, right?
I know. Looking back, it's like I can laugh a little, but I'm like, Jesus.
It hurts. You can laugh,
Yeah.
but it still hurts,
Yeah.
It's
It's a painful laugh.
brutal. Yeah, it is. It is, and during all this time too, man, I had been to a couple of different treatment facilities. I had the best job I've ever had in my life. I got hired on to work at Lockheed Martin to build aircraft.
Huh.
I know we had talked before. I'm autistic, and some dudes get trains or whatever, but airplanes for me, dude, that's my shit. Like it is the yeah. If reincarnation is the thing, I want to be reincarnated as an airplane. That
Cool.
would be really cool. But so I got a job at Lockheed Martin building aircraft, and it was like the coolest shit ever. But I was a raging alcoholic, and I just couldn't stop. And God bless that company, man. They sent me to rehab twice, you know,
Yeah.
and nothing, just nothing with no win,
Yeah.
So, I got fired from that job, and dude, that really sucked.
Was it because of unreliability, or did you show up intoxicated, or?
Oh no, I showed up drunk. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I tried to work on an aircraft drunk. Uh, totally, dude, super bad look. super bad look. But it kind of taught me a lesson for a little bit, but not really. So I had done a few traditional rehab programs. I tried AA with just it didn't work, and I know why all that stuff didn't work back then. I know now because my wife wanted me to get sober, my children, my parents, my community.
Yeah.
But dude, I didn't give a shit about being sober. Like deep down, when I look at it, it didn't work because I didn't care. It wasn't me that was wanting this change. So, you know, that's kind of one thing I realized in this journey is that unless you truly want that change or truly want something, it doesn't matter what you do. It's probably not going to work.
I learned that too. I mean, no matter how much pressure and recommendations and pushing and intervention I got from people,
Yeah.
I didn't quit until I actually decided, okay, I surrender. I throw in the towel. Let's do this.
Well, for me, I guess when I threw in the towel, and this is back probably January of 24, kind of December of 23 kind of sucked. It was a rough December. And then January 24, I was heading out west, the International Builder Show. I guess that's kind of more towards February, but I was heading out west for that. And I stopped to talk to my family about some things, and the conversation didn't go good. I don't remember much of the show in Vegas. I don't remember the drive back to Georgia. I drove. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a guy with me driving too, but I don't remember. I don't remember much of that trip. Like I lost a whole week in Vegas. Like, and I'm Vegas, obviously. Vegas had something to do with that, but I don't remember the trip back, nothing. I was like, I got a fucking problem. And I didn't know how to solve it, so I was just gonna kill myself.
Can you describe, I want to hear the rest of that part, but can you describe like when you're at your worst, like that, for instance, what a 24-hour period was like as far as drinking? Like, were you waking up drinking? Were you sneaking it everywhere? Like, what
Dude,
was that like?
so I didn't have to sneak it, bro. I just didn't. Um, you know, we worked at family owned and operated company. Drinking wasn't really a thing. We had bars in our offices. Everyone had a bar in the bottom drawer. Pretty big sales company. I didn't hide it. I didn't try to hide it. I had people pick me up. I'd have people driving to work. I had a lot of people just inhibiting me, helping me, enabling me. You know,
Yeah.
I was super high functioning, but I would say a 24-hour shot would be I would wake up at 6 a.m. and I would brush my teeth and grab a glass of gin and then off to the gym, with gin on my breath, but didn't give a shit. I'd be at the gym for an hour or so, go back home, shower, glass of gin, cup of coffee, hit the office, and then somewhere around 9 a.m., I'd probably pour my first drink at the office. By noon, I'm drunk, just hammered, done. Just there's nothing. And at that point, I'm either looking for a bag or some Adderall or something to get me back. Because I mean, it's only noon. I've got a lunch meeting and then a couple of meetings this afternoon. I've got to figure my life out. And then lunch with a colleague or a client. By 3 o'clock, I'm leaving the office. I mean, at this point, 3:30, I'm so trashed. I need to get out of there. So I'm headed back to the house. I get to the house, and it's just at that point, it's a free for all. Hit a couple lines when I get to the house and just start drinking.
And the lines will just keep you going,
I don't understand. I'm not a scientist, but yeah, there's definitely a correlation between why they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And everyone else sees I'm drunk, but when I'm in that state, I had no idea. I had no idea I was falling down. I had no idea. I didn't have, it didn't like, I thought I was normal. I thought, and in a lot of ways I was, because that's how I had been for so many years that nobody knew the sober me. There were people in that portion of my life that had never met me sober. If they saw me now, they'd be like, they wouldn't know who I am,
Mhm.
just because I spent so long drunk. I woke up drunk. I went to bed drunk. You know, if I took the lid off a bottle of gin, you didn't have to put it back on there. You know, you could lose it. It would be finished today.
How much do you think you were drinking on an average day?
On an average day, I would drink about a fifth and a half
Okay.
Of gin, and then obviously if I had maybe a little more if I was at a restaurant or something. Couple drinks with lunch, couple drinks with dinner, but about a fifth and a half just throughout the day.
Okay.
So wasn't much of a beer drinker. Just gin and tonic was my poison. So
Yeah. Tanqueray tonics were my drink of choice for a few years.
there you go. There you go. And then, you know, I'd be so wired at night. You know, I'd have to smoke a blunt, maybe two, just to try to mellow down enough to maybe go to sleep.
Yeah, so you just keep countering drugs and keep adding and
it was,
up, down.
It was a constant roller coaster of up and down.
Yeah.
And it's an absolute shit show. You know, I was a mess. I was almost 300 pounds.
Wow, you look like you're in great shape now. So
yeah, right now I'm like 165. So, you know, it's amazing what happens when you stop drinking and start working out, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much, you don't really make a lot of great choices when you're in the, you know, in the throes of addiction.
I agree.
So, you know, my choices of beverages, my choices of food, none of them were good.
Yeah.
So, you know, I had a lot of things fighting against me. But, you know, after that whole breakdown in Vegas, I had to change. And I remember I was riding back from Las Vegas and I heard a couple podcasts talking about ibogaine. And a guy I was riding with was talking to me like, why do you drink like this? And I was like, dude, I don't know. Like, it was at the point I'm like, I don't know, but I don't want to talk to you about it. Like, just shut up, bro. Just suck it back. You know, if you get tired, like I'll talk to you about something else. We're not talking about this. But it made me think about that, you know, like then the entire time I'm drinking and getting home, it's like I'm thinking about why do I do this? And I didn't know, you know. I knew I was tired of waking up feeling like shit every day. It's just there had to be something better. And I was sitting on my front porch and one night and I was just like, damn. And I called a buddy of mine. I'm like, dude, you gotta come get my guns, bro. It's like, I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, but you gotta, like, it's probably a good thing. You need to come talk to me for a minute. And he came to my house, dude. Him and his wife came to my house, and I really remember a lot after that. Kind of early evening, and I guess by about midnight, they had put me in a detox center here in Georgia, up on the lake. Nice place, and I was pissed. I was angry because that's not where I wanted to go. I didn't think, but I was there, and they weren't letting me leave. So it's like, fuck it, whatever. And I guess my parents had helped me secure a spot in an ibogaine facility down in Cancun, Mexico. So I had talked to some guys, couple SEAL buddies that I know, and they had told me about a place down in Tijuana that specialized in veterans and whatnot. But they couldn't take me because to go there, you would need to be fully detoxed. And I remember talking to that lady on the phone. I was like, lady, if I could figure out how to stop drinking for a week long enough to come see you, I wouldn't need you. Like, if I could do this on my own, you don't exist in my world. Like, I'm calling you because I need your help. Like, I physically can't do this myself, so I might as well just shoot myself, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, probably don't do that. And she gave me, you know, the other resources of people that could help. And I went to a place called Beyond there in Cancun, Mexico. And I don't know. I know right now on the news and everywhere you hear a lot about psychedelic therapies and whatnot. Ibogaine is man, it's like control delete for your brain. It's like it's just a reset. It's not quite that quick though.
Were you reluctant to go, or is it something you were
No,
excited about?
no, I was not reluctant to go. I was on board with going, and not for the reason you would think. We talked about I sucked at killing myself, and I was done. I didn't do very much research about ibogaine. I just heard that it might be a cure for help me get sober, but it might kill me. In my brain, I thought it might kill me. So, if it was, and I also thought too, if it was so good, if it worked so good, why wouldn't it be offered in the US?
Yeah.
Kind of mindset. So I went down there with one or two hopes. It was either going to work and get me sober, it was going to help me get sober, or it was going to kill me. I was good either way. So I went. It killed me in a lot of ways, sure, but only in the good ways.
What was the experience like there from day one?
Okay, so one thing I didn't know, I flew from Atlanta to Cancun by myself. I walked to the airport by myself. Now, at the detox center, they had given me a bunch of benzos for 2 days because they couldn't give me alcohol, obviously. Well, no one told me I was on benzos because I was so fucked up when I got to rehab that I just started eating the pills because I wasn't sick, I was so sick. I felt like death. And I'd only been there for like a little less than 48 hours. So then I was flying to Mexico. Well, I stopped at the bar, clearly, and then drank on the plane. So when I landed in Cancun, I was three sheets to the wind. I was gone. I was having the best life right up until the little guy at the customs booth asked me to come see him. Holy shit. They tossed my stuff. I don't speak great Spanish, but I'm 100% sure every word they used was not friendly.
Insulting you.
Oh, it was terrible.
Wow.
The worst experience in customs ever. Make it through that pissed, find my taxi, whatever. I get there and I'm like, oh shit, I really am here. And I was honestly terrified. I didn't know what to expect. And now I have just checked myself into a place in Mexico, and that's all I know. So it was pretty nerve wracking. Pretty scary situation for me. And I'm drunk, so
Yeah, and worried about detoxing after that.
100%. It's just I can say from the moment I stepped foot in the gate at Beyond to the moment I left, it was probably the best experience I've ever had in my life as far as a clinical setting. It's just the right amount of clinic with resort with healing. It's like every person there has two nurses that's assigned to them, pretty much one or two. You have your own nurse, and like they do their best to make you comfortable while you're detoxing, because we all know how that is. That sucks. It's brutal. And it was funny. They're so attentive to you. I remember it probably my third day there. Because you have to detox for a few days before you could take the ibogaine. And I was laying on a couch, kind of in a day room with a pillow over my head. And this nurse walks up and he just hands me like 2 Advil and a water. And I'm like, what's that for? He's like, for your headache. And I said, how did you know I have a headache? And he said, well, you're laying on a couch at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Cancun, Mexico, with a pillow over your face. I was like, that's pretty smart, actually.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So it checks out. So, I mean, it's just stuff like that. They were super, super in tune to what you needed. And, they make a really shitty process of detoxing as good as possible. They could, I mean, they approach it with grace, with compassion, and it definitely shows. And also during that time, during your detox, you are you're talking about the journey you're about to take, about the ibogaine process, because this isn't something you just show up there, take, and then you're okay. It's I mean, it's one of the strongest psychedelics on the planet. So you probably need some integration before you do something like that, because it's so you start we they kind of teach you about it, intentions and setting and set, and kind of how this plant works and what the science behind it is. And so that takes a few days. Um, all that stuff they tell you about before then went right out the damn window when I took that medicine. When I took ibogaine, I don't remember a damn thing they said. Because it was, for me, the scariest thing I could ever imagine. Um, and you take the medicine, like I remember the day you take the medicine, you don't eat anything the night before. And then you start fairly early in the morning, about 6:37. And it's so ibogaine is derived from the root of the iboga plant from West Africa. It's been used there for thousands and thousands of years for traditional healing with the Bwiti tribe. But what they found is in iboga, there's 13 alkaloids, and they've separated the ibogaine alkaloid. And what it does is it attaches to the dopamine, the serotonin, the isocotylcholine, and the GABA receptors in your brain. And it's like all the feel good stuff, the ones that those receptors that really make us crave our addictions. It's like it washes those out. It's like a pressure washer. Gets in there and squirts them out, It's so I took that medicine, and I don't know. Have you ever, I think we talked before, have you ever done like psilocybin or anything?
I've just
Mushroom?
done, regular like Kubenzi mushrooms and stuff back in
Okay.
the day,
Okay.
cyanessence or something.
Sure.
So that's about as far as psychedelics I've ever done. Never done acid or anything or LSD.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So this is not really the same at all.
okay.
For me at least. I know, if I've sat with psilocybin before, mushrooms, and it's bright colors, it's kind of a happy time, can be a little inward and but dive inward, but it could be external, you never really know. With ibogaine, it was like I was laying there after I took the medicine. They gave it to me in a capsule, and I drank some water and took it. Kind of laid there for maybe 25 or 30 minutes, and it's like I just heard this annoying sound, almost like a ring or a buzz, a real auditory buzz. More annoying to me than the smoke detector chirping. And it just wouldn't stop, and it was just deafening. So I'm dealing with that. And then all of a sudden, it's just like I start seeing like flashes of lights just flying by me. And then boom, it was just like a TV just opened up in front of my face. Like, what? Okay. And I'm starting to watch things in my life like happen on like it's a movie. I'm watching myself in a movie. I'm a third person of the observer now to my life. And I'm watching this, and I'm confused, and it's super fast, and I'm confused. And then I'm watching these situations happen in my life. In certain situations, I'm like, damn, I was a real asshole there, Like, oh wow, look at how you were a dick. Dude, I saw like my whole life in certain situations. I had thought I was the abused one and I was the perpetrator. And I got to watch all these times in my life where I've just been a regular douchebag. Like I was not a good dude, and I got to see this.
So these were like vivid memories that were like happening
Vivid.
right in front of you.
It was my entire life happening right in front of me. Everything from my life, from like the time you can remember from a baby until then.
That must have been really emotional.
Emotional is not the word. We don't have a word for what that is. During that time, during I'm watching this, I felt something. And this is going to sound crazy, but it was up until this point in my life, I can say from the day my son died, I I blindly followed God my whole life for what I thought was God. Um, because the church told me to or whatever. And the day my son died, I prayed to God and I begged for a miracle. And I didn't get a miracle that day. No, I didn't. The miracle I begged for, I didn't get. And I hated God for it. Absolutely hated God for it. And during this ibogaine journey, like I felt the presence of God and I got pissed, like angry. And it's not like it was like God, like, hello, I'm God and I'm here. It was not that. It was like it kind of crept in on me and it was just overwhelming and daunting and huge. And I tried to fight it. Like I tried to fight it. Like, fuck you. You're here now. You don't need you now. I needed you then. You aren't here. And I remember God telling me, or source telling, whatever you call this, because I promise you, God is not a big enough word for the power that I felt that day. Um, but I tried to fight God and I was like, you know what, dude, piss off. You left me alone. I don't need you now. And he's like, I never left you alone. I never did. And I was like, dude, you're a liar. One thing I will say, you will not call God a liar. I don't recommend it. And he was like, dude, don't call me a liar. Like, I've never left you alone, but I'm going to show you what alone is. And dude, it's like, just like that. It's like he fucking picked me up and chunked me, punched me through the universe. And I was just in the blackest of blackest rooms ever. Kind of think the Bible might have got it wrong when it describes hell, because I think hell is curated for you. I am scared of the dark. Always have been since I was a little kid. I carry a flashlight everywhere I go. It's a weird thing. I'll go in a dark room, but I want a light switch if I can turn it on. It was the darkest room I've ever been in. I can't imagine. You can't imagine. It was comfortable, but I couldn't move anything but my head. And I don't know how long I was there or anything. I died because time, when you're on ibogaine, time makes no sense. It just disappears. But I remember standing there and over and over, it was like I would see these beings. And now, granted, it is black. And it was like the first one I saw was a little boy. He was like 7. And I'm just thinking, yo, little buddy, like, I get why I'm here. Like, you're like a little kid. A little kid do deserve this shit. Like, I'm not even mad at me right now? And then I saw this little kid just turn into an old man instantly and wither. And right before he slumped over to die, it's like he opened his mouth and tried to eat me. And the only thing I could do was turn my head. I couldn't run. And then some more, even more crazier shit's happening right here. And this demon over here is trying to eat me. And like I said, man, I don't know how long these demons tried to eat me. I have no idea what I was learning at this point. I know it was the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. But then I saw a hummingbird in this black closet or hell space, hummingbird, and it was talking to me and it said, if you'll just hop sideways, it'll all be over. I'm like, what? It's a hummingbird. Like, what are you doing? So I was like, okay, dumbass, I can't move, but I'm going to move my head. The hummingbird was like, just have faith and hop. I don't know if I physically jumped because I was laying in a bed. I have no idea. I'd love to do a videotape to see if my body hopped, but I'm 100% positive my big ass said to the side,
Yeah.
because I remember just like that. It was like I was in the most beautiful place that words can't even tell you about. It was like not bright. It was like pastel colors and beautiful plants and trees and just, dude, it was the most peaceful thing I've ever experienced. And God was there. And he was like, yo, so did I leave you alone? And I was like, no, sir. Like, oh my God, don't do that again. Like, holy shit. Like, oh, big guy, no. When I tell you I spoke to God that day like Moses did, you can't convince me I didn't. They probably put me in a straitjacket these days if I tell a lot of people that, but that's okay. because when I was telling you earlier about watching my whole life and realizing how bad of a dude I was, during that time, it was like I was holding my own soul judging. It's like I had to be my own judge. And I remember after I came out of that dark place and I was sitting there with God and I was just weeping and we were having this conversation. And I was just like, dude, what do I do? Like, what now? Like, how does this work? Like, how do you come back from that? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, love. He's like, just love, dude. And I mean, we were talking, bro, and he was just like, I asked so many questions, like about this and that. And he was like, dude, it's all about love. Just love yourself, love your friends, love your people. Love my people. They're all mine. So love them as I told you to. And then it was just kind of, and
Yeah.
I was like, wow, like, holy shit.
How much time did go by? Did you realize?
12 hours in
12
that,
hours.
in that portion. For me, I didn't sleep for like 38 hours straight. And after this, because for one, I just spoke to God. And I'm sorry, dude. If you go talk to God, you're not going to bed today. You're just not. It's you have too much. There was too much on my head in my brain to even like. I could not process.
You're like still trying to comprehend it.
Dude, it took months to
Yeah.
comprehend it all. Even now that I'll have thoughts and I'm like, oh shit, maybe that's what that meant. It's like, wow. But I would say 12 hours you're in the treatment room. And I would say the hard visions were probably 7, 8 hours long, like the really just uh, you know, and after that it really mellows out and it's enjoyable. But oh no, it's not enjoyable, but it's not compared to where it starts for me. And now, granted,
Yeah.
not everybody has the same experience on ibogaine. Ibogaine, it's like you have the experience you're supposed to have. Now, physiologically, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do on a medicinal level,
Mhm.
but
Everybody's going to respond different.
everybody's going to respond a little differently, sure. But I came out of that with a very loud voice in my head telling me that if you ever drink or use again, it will be the thing that kills you. Like, you're supposed to die an old man in your bed, but if you drink or use again, you will die. It will kill you. And I fully believe that in the bottom of my soul, that is the one thing that ends me no matter what. Um, but when you do ibogaine, I did you do like a flood dose, and then the next day you have a grace day. It kind of lets you 24 hours just to kind of decompress and like, wow, what just happened kind of day. And then you do a booster dose day after. Well, my first booster, which is just a fraction of the flood dose. Some people have visions, some people don't. I did. And it was very weird. They were very, very peaceful visions. I'll remember this day because it was March 16th, 2024. Um, and I remember just being in this like old ancient village, and I couldn't interact with people there. I was just an observer. And it was like showing me how these people were living together and loving each other and teaching each other things. And it was just beautiful. And it was just kind of carrying on that love, like this is how you communicate with people. This is how you interact with people. You don't have to be an asshole kind of thing. It was like showing me how I'm supposed to interact with the world. Like this is how it's supposed to be done. I'm like, okay. Well, that whole day, man, was like I just felt off almost, but I figured it was just because, the day before I just went through that and I'm super in my head. Well, I remember that night, my wife at that point, my wife then had called me and said, yo, I know today you're having a hard time, blah, 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 with it being the anniversary of your son's death. What? Dude, I had totally forgot that it was the anniversary of my son's death. I don't know if that makes me a shitty dad, or I was just in my head going, right in the middle of detox and rehab. Like, I don't know. I try to
Like a
give
lot going
myself,
through your head.
I try to give myself some grace around that time because
Yeah.
I was trying to do better for my family and myself for sure.
Yeah.
But at that instant, my first thought was to go get drunk. Like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I gotta get fucked up. And it took the staff there a couple hours to talk me off the fence and like say, okay, I'm gonna finish this. Like, I'm not gonna go do that today. But it made me realize, like, dude, I can't go home. I'm right here with all these staff and all these walls and these I can't leave here. There's like it's super impossible to go get a beer and drink. Like, but what happens when I get home and this happens? Like, I will be drunk today, and I just got told that if I drink, it's gonna kill me.
Yes.
Like,
That's all you need to know.
like I fucking need. I like. How do I not drink? And I didn't know. I had no idea. Like, I still didn't know. The only thing I knew is that I was sober and I felt like shit. My body hurt still. I didn't want to drink, and fuck, dude. So I was talking to Tom Fiegel, the owner of Beyond, one of the founders there. And he was like, hey, I got this spot. I know this place. It's an aftercare place. It's a place to go rest. It's a place to go learn new habits. Like, sign me up. So I went to this place in central Mexico, and it was just like a 6-week hippie commune. But like the therapist there, the doctor that ran the place, he went to Harvard. The therapist, super, super educated. And it was different. It was different kind of therapy. They did art therapy and horse therapy. It was small, like 6, 8 people at a time. We were all there going through the same thing. We were all just not obviously the same addictions or the same trauma, but we were all there sober and feeling our feelings and learning how to give these feelings names instead of feeling a feeling and drinking it away. Like,
Numbing it. Yeah.
what do I name this? And then how do I talk to it and tell it that, hey, I see you, but I'm going to run this shit today, not you. Like, how do you,
Great way to look at
it
it.
was just in a very, very private nature setting, and we had our own little cabin. I mean, it was a very nice rustic place, but the pace was slow and it allowed the mind to reset and it allowed our bodies to heal. I was able to heal my body. They fed a very balanced plant forward meals. Cause so much of getting sober was not just getting the alcohol or the cocaine out of my body. It was, I learned how to eat again, like, no, don't get good Taco Bell. You need, eat a half a watermelon slice and some carrots,
Yeah.
So I had to learn all new habits and I had to learn how to name my emotions. And that was tough, but it was weird. It was kind of weird therapy because it wasn't the traditional, like, okay, you got therapy at 1 o'clock, you're going for an hour and then you're back and we're going to group A and then we're back. It was not that. It was like, you just be sitting under a tree, smoking a cigarette, like, and then a counselor or therapist just walks by and it's like poses a question like, hey, I see you're thinking about something. What does it feel like to let that go today? And then they just walk off. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, and then you have the next thing you know, dude, you're an hour and 45 minutes crying under a tree and you just worked out something huge. And it was just like, I guess it worked because it allows you to be vulnerable and comfortable. And it's not just the standard therapy.
Allows you to tackle every trauma one by one, it sounds like.
And at your own pace, it's
good.
not a scheduled thing. Like, okay, at 1 o'clock, and how much that's, I know a lot of people struggle in sobriety because of it. It's hard to get that person to talk to and learn these tools when you're only seeing your psychologist once a week or once every 2 weeks for an hour.
Exactly.
One thing that I'm working on right now is there's a thing called Destination Me. And it's a program like I went to, and I'd like to do it here in the United States. because no matter what kind of therapy you get so used to get sober, or what kind of it, that's great and wonderful, but the chance of relapse is so great if we don't figure out what caused us to want to drink or use. Because that was the band-aid, for me, the alcohol, the cocaine, that was the solution. I had a lot of childhood trauma I had to deal with, that I was covering up. I had to deal with the death of my son. I had to deal with being adopted. I was adopted when I was 3 years old, almost 4. I had to deal with that. Like, I had a lot of anger about that, like, why didn't someone want me, kind of thing,
Yeah.
I had a lot of shit that I deal with. I didn't know how to name. I didn't know how to understand or cope with. So I just drank. And until we start normalizing that we have to deal with this stuff and stop shaming people, I mean, this industry's still gonna suck.
And I think it's
We're not gonna
impossible
have
to
a
be
lot of-
vulnerable while you're drinking and numbing all of your thoughts and emotions and problems.
You absolutely can't. How can you? I mean,
Exactly.
it's the absolute opposite of vulnerability,
Yep.
100%, I'm doing that so I can be strong,
Mm-hmm.
So, it's so tough. And, I learned a lot of good tools and put some new things in my toolbox so I didn't have to just come home and white knuckle sobriety, because,
What are the best tools you brought home, would you say?
for me, is literally when I start feeling something, is be able to sit down and give it a name. Now, I'm special, man. Its name may be Harold today.
Yeah, I was
But-
going to ask for an example.
No, like if I get super angry or super pissed off, I kind of sit back and I'm like, all right, Harold, I see you. I ain't fucking with you right now, though. If I let you play, we're going to break this shit. So let me play. And then tonight we'll go home and I'm going to write about Harold. And I'm going to journal about Harold. And that's just my own little crazy way of doing it, and it works for me. But I give it an actual damn name, like, and if someone ever steals my journal and reads it, they'll be like, now why is he writing about Cynthia and Sarah? And then tomorrow it's Edward. And you're never going to know, but it's just the way I give it a name. I give it a name and say, listen, Jack, you're not running today. I am. But you and I are going to hang out later and talk about this. And then later I journal and I usually, and if it's something I can't get through, I've got an amazing network of people that I can call and be like, hey, listen, I'm feeling some kind of way about this. And, that's one thing we have to do is build our community. A lot of people don't realize your community's important. You've got to have that one dude that you can talk to, even if it's not a therapist or your wife or someone or a spouse. It's just a dude I can call at 2 a.m. and be like, hey, man, just so you know, kind of pissed right now, but I'm going to stay sober. Just think about me. All right. Love you. Bye. Yeah. But I've got that, and I've been fortunate with that. I'm fortunate that, because when I got back from rehab, I lost everything. I lost my entire, I literally the day after I got home from rehab, I told my wife I wanted a divorce. We're not going to get into that, but I realized that we were not aligned, and we were married for reasons that weren't reasons to be married, and so stop that. When I was able to work on myself, and when I got divorced, I wound up losing my business. I lost my house. Was essentially homeless, living in a basement, no windows, no kitchen, no bathroom. I showered at the gym. That was a rough few months, dude. I was eating out of a sack, or like, shower at the gym, quick ramen here or there. But it was brutal for a few months there. But we made it through. Me and the dog. Got a little friendship.
I made a post yesterday on Instagram and TikTok about how much I appreciate my dog for sticking with me during my addictions.
Dude, I'm telling you, dude, this little Frenchie's snoring over here. This little dude, he's the best therapist money can't buy.
Exactly. I agree.
It's like if I was actually as honest with my therapist as I am this guy, I'd have been healed
years ago.
Yeah, years ago, dude. I'd be saving so much money a month.
I
Um,
agree. And dogs don't charge very much. They just charge some
no,
food and a walk.
dude, I'm telling you, he's the best dude.
Yeah,
But we made it through. Wound up meeting the love of my life.
that's awesome.
And we got married really quick. Because when I'm not, I'm 44 years old, tired of playing games. So I pretty well know if it's going to work or not. Feel like
Yeah.
it is. So, and now we're just out here telling people about God and trying to be sober. I don't know.
The life
And
is
I don't,
good and you're
it
living,
is.
everything's going really well and you're content and happy and in a good relationship and you have the right support. Do you have to do anything, any follow-up things as far as the ibogaine treatment, or you just kind of live life now?
No.
And
So, no, no. I mean, I did the 2 boosters. I did the treatment of 2 boosters. And then, you know, there's really no follow up for it. I know I'm going to continue my therapy. Um, I'm going to continue going to meetings. I go to PIR meetings, psychedelics in recovery. I love AA. I love NA. They're amazing. Man, it's such an amazing program. It's saved millions of lives.
saved my life. Yeah.
Um, it's not necessarily the program for me and where I live. I kind of live in North Georgia with the schedule I have. It's hard to make a meeting,
Mhm.
just getting coordinated to one. I've been to a few that I really enjoyed, but like I said, I do PIR meetings. I'm going to keep doing that. And like I said, we are trying to build a destination meet here in the Southeast for people that can come to, and it's not just for people who've been through addictions. It's trauma victims, trauma people,
Yeah.
PTSD, because you need a place where you can come talk about it in a quiet, safe place, you know, and heal.
Yeah.
So, it's something we're really putting together and, waiting, getting a couple more investors together and hoping to launch first of the year.
That's great. So you're doing something that'll definitely help people in the future and people in recovery.
Absolutely. That's the goal
Really.
for sure.
And it looks like you have I don't know if you want to mention your page on TikTok. I know a lot of the stuff you say, I was getting into a lot of the videos. You say a lot of positive stuff. And would you
Yeah.
mind?
So I go by East Coast Hippie 444 on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Um, we just talk about recovery, integration, integrating this experience that we call being a human. You
Cool.
know, Unfortunately, there's no cure for it, but we can integrate the hell of it, enjoy it. We don't try not to take it too serious. I mean, we talk about some serious subject matter, but I want to do it in a casual, fun loving way because and I like to remind people too, take a break. You don't have to work on that shit today. We don't have to do the work every single day. That deep, dark inner work.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay to just say, hey, I'm going to be sober today and I'm going to the park and I'm going to swing on the swing. I'm going to eat a fruit roll up and a yoo-hoo and I'm going to take a damn nap because my 5-year-old inner child self needs that today.
Exactly. I
We're
mean,
not going to
people
feel
can do
guilty
things at
about
their
it.
own pace. So yeah.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
We're going to
That
heal
was
anyway. We don't have to work on it every day.
my next question. For my listeners that are still active in addiction and are listening to my show, because I do know there are some listeners who are still actively using. What advice would you give to them on, when they're considering to quit? Any personal advice you'd give?
Yeah, man. Just keep a positive attitude if you can. I know that's the easiest thing to say and the hardest thing to do, but just know that it starts with one decision. You only make one good decision a day. Just say, if you're in active addiction, say, hey, you know what? Right now, it is 5 p.m. Eastern. I'm not going to use until 9 p.m. Eastern. And it may be that easy, that hard. That'll be a hard thing. But and maybe that's what gets you closer to saying, okay, today's the day I stop, or today's the day I reach out to someone. But also reach out to me on East Coast Hippie 444 at gmail.com. I have a ton of resources if you're interested in ibogaine therapy, as well as traditional rehab. I have some traditional therapy resources as well. But I would say just smile. You are enough. You're not broken. You are becoming. You
I
know
like
what?
that. Very well
You
said.
we've all made it through 100% of our most fucked up days.
Through that.
So if you're sitting here thinking about getting sober today, just realize you've made it through every fucked up day you've had so far. So you're pretty damn tough anyway. So if you made it through that, you can make it through this if this is the route you want to go. I know you can. I am no one special. I did it. It sucked, but here I am, and it's way awesome. So, you know,
Very well said. I appreciate
yeah.
it.
I end everything with, you know, happy vibes, big smiles, and stay trippy, little hippie.
I like that.
Dude, this life is, it's either a shit show or a circus. I like circuses, you know? So I'm going to put my clown nose on and we're going to go out and have fun today. So
It's a good way to look at it.
what we make it, man. I've done the whole doom and gloom thing every day, dude. I'm tired of that. Nah, guys, just keep your head up, you know? And yeah, I will say one thing about being sober. You don't have to make a commitment today to be sober the rest of your life. You don't. I can't make that commitment. I don't. That's a long fucking time. I am going to make the commitment that I'm going to be sober today. Tomorrow's looking real good too. But I will leave everyone with one cool comment that a mentor of mine gave me. I guess it's something that really drove home for me, my sobriety and why I do this is he asked me, he said, Shawn, you know what happens if you drink today. And I do, dude. I know exactly what's going to happen. I can predict it almost 100%. But he said, ask yourself, what happens if you don't? What happens if you don't drink today? I don't fucking know, dude. So stay curious.
Exactly.
I know what happens if I do drink, but what happens if I don't? So I'm going to be a weird, curious little dude and find out, man. And I'm going to do that for as many damn days as I can. It'll probably be the rest of them, but it's definitely going to be today and it's definitely going to be tomorrow.
I like that.
One day at a time, baby.
Rock Bottom with Ryan. No bullshit, just recovery.
I might not even fucking wake up tomorrow and you're all planning on being sober for 9,000 days. Missed it. I died. You know. So we're just gonna start with today. We're looking forward to tomorrow. And I know what happens if I do, what happens if I don't.
That's perfect, man. You said it perfectly.
Yeah, buddy.
I appreciate you. So I love this episode. Keep in touch, man.
All right, brother. Thank you.
All right.
Good looking, man.
All right. Later.
Later, dude.